There are a few things in life that causes people to get really excited when they hear the news of it. One, the birth of a child, and secondly, the announcement of a couple getting married. In this video, I'll be sharing about marriage. And is it all that? Well, with over 37 years of being what I consider to be happily married, I believe I have something that I can share with you. So you're definitely going to want to stick around for this. My name is Earl Hendricks, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. So in this first part of what I'm planning to be a 5-part series on marriage, I'm dealing with, in this part 1, the initial attraction. But before we go there, there's this fellow who was having a real problem communicating with women, and especially his wife. So he went home one day and posed this question using modern technology. So he said, "Hey Siri, why is it that I'm having such a problem communicating with women, and especially my wife?" The answer came back, "This is Alexa." I think this guy has a real problem communicating. What do you think? Let's get into the video. So you may rightly ask, what qualifies me to be able to share in this rather sensitive and sacred topic? Well, allow me to just share some notes that I made. So I mentioned before in the introduction that I've been happily married to my wife for 37 plus years, and that is by the grace and mercy of God. And secondly, having shared with, encouraged, and sought counseling for friends and colleagues whose marriages were on the brink of divorce, and thankfully their marriage were restored. Thirdly, having experienced the various challenges and dynamics that a marriage entails and still continue to learn. Fourthly, having served as a church official in the capacity as senior deacon for over 5 years and adult Sunday school teacher for over 10 years. And fifth and last, having a passion and love for people. And I believe that should qualify me to be able to talk about this topic. And if you're new to my channel, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? I'd love for you to share this video. It's a very sensitive topic, as you would imagine, but one that I believe that will help to encourage, as well as probably help to strengthen your marriage, or somebody who you know might be having some challenges right now, or maybe a young couple looking forward to getting married. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button and notification button along with it, so that when I release videos like this one, you'll be the first to be notified. Okay, so let's get right into it. So yes, I know some of you have been thinking about it, scratching your heads and looking back. Those of you who have been married for a while, 5, 10, 15, however long you've been married, to a year, and you can possibly recall that initial attraction. For some of you, it might have been physical attraction. For others of you, it could be somebody's voice. Probably there's just something about the person's charisma that actually got your interest. As there could be a number of things. As human beings, there's just something that attracts you to another person. And what do you say now? You just build what people are saying, you have chemistry together. I wasn't so good at chemistry in school. I don't know about you, but that's another story. But the fact of the matter is that that initial attraction to the person who eventually becomes your life's partner can be very profound. As a matter of fact, I can recall my days having met my wife, Alda, and the picture of Shania behind me here. You'll see another one coming up on the screen shortly. This picture is a picture of us on our 30th anniversary cruise. Good times then, but it was kind of spoiled by bad weather, as we had a storm that passed through before, and my poor wife got seasick. But never mind, let's get back to our story. Fast forward to the first time we met each other, which is now over 37 years ago. Actually, we've been married over 37 years, and we dated for about 3.5 years before we eventually got married, because she was a young student nurse when I met her, She was actually from the other side of the island, Montego Bay. I told you before that I'm from Jamaica. Yeah, man, me still chat pot and I come from Jamaica, but I tend to speak the Queen's English most of the time. Yeah, so my wife came from Jamaica and I was born in Kingston, the other part of the country, actually the capital of Jamaica. Okay, our paths crossed and we met, and I was really intrigued by her the very first time I met her. So you may call it love at first sight, maybe, but I was really attracted to her. When I asked her if she was attracted to me, she said she liked me, but she grew to really admire me over time and all the qualities that she saw in me. But what is actually quite funny and profound is that in this initial stage, we just could not get enough of seeing each other. Can you recall those times when even after spending a good time together on a date or just walking, whatever you did during that time when you met that person, even after they're gone back to their home or so on, you're on your phone again. These days, I guess you might be texting, but back in my day, I had a telephone, a land phone, and when she went back to her home back in Montego Bay, we'd spend literal hours on the phone talking about, to be honest with you, I really don't know. But you found things to talk about and you connect, you laugh and you chat, and you just couldn't wait to be together again. Can you recall those days? Well, I can, with a lot of joy and glee, because I recall those days with a lot of satisfaction. But this is the initial phase of getting to know someone. And then there are the other phase now when you actually start thinking, could this actually be the one? What makes you think that this is the person? Some of you are looking on this video now can probably look back and say, did I make the right choice? Was I too hasty during that time? So let me know by commenting below. What do you think? Do you think you made the right choice? Anyway, let me go on to my very next point. Alright, so you continue dating, since that continue seeing each other and so on, and then there comes a time when you start to wonder, could this be the one? You've been dating for a while, and there's just something about this person. He or she just seem to have things in common with you. You tend to share probably hobbies, games. You like the same places. You like doing the same things. There are things in common that you like to share with this person. And so you find that it's easy being with this person because you share so much in common. I can recall even some people are dating now who live a kind of single, alone life and prefer to be by themselves doing their own thing. When someone special came into her life, I think everything started to change as I started to observe and look and say, something looks a bit different here, and I can think about my own days, and you can possibly remember your own day as well. So that's the initial attraction. Alright, so having had that initial attraction, you're now starting to think, could this really be the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with? Because this is a serious decision. And yes, I pause to say here that there are times when, unfortunately, we sometimes rush this aspect of things and say, with so many things that we have in common, I believe, yes, this is the right person. So let's go ahead and pull the trigger. Let's go ahead and get married. So what comes next? Yes, the planning of the marriage and the honeymoon and all of that, and all that entails. For me, I must confess, and probably you men who might be watching this video, you might also confess that that was a kind of woman thing to plan the marriage and all that sort of thing. We gave our support as best as we could, financially and otherwise. But for the most part, I can recall, because my wife was all excited about it and she had other sisters who could help her. She was so excited making the plans about our marriage and about not about our marriage, forgive me, about our wedding. Marriage comes after. Yes, marriage does come after. So the planning of the wedding is a big thing for couples, especially the ladies. Ladies, do you agree? I'm sure you agree. So you make all these plans, whether or not you're becoming having a, a small wedding or a medium-sized wedding or a large wedding. Nowadays with COVID rather, nowadays with COVID being rampant, people had to become innovative. We don't want to cause problems, so and health issues and so on. That's the last thing you want to have when you're planning a wedding, friends. So COVID has caused a lot of people to be innovative, right? But that be as it may, the planning of the wedding is a very crucial part that both of you, I believe, should come together and decide on what you're going to be doing. These days, and we have wedding planners. Back in the day when my wife and I were getting married back in Jamaica, we possibly they were there, but we were not aware that there was such thing as wedding planners. So we planned our own wedding and so on. So these days we have wedding planners, and for those of you who want to be a bit more frugal, and can do it yourself, you can go ahead and do it as well. But it is a lot of work to plan weddings. A lot of work goes into it together. Photographer. Oh, by the way, talk about photographer. I do weddings. I enjoy doing weddings. I'm a photographer too. I do photography on the side as well, and I've done it for over 30 years too. I was very active in Jamaica as a photographer. Uh, and I've done a few weddings since I've been here. I just love doing weddings. But yeah, getting back to the topic. You have the planner, the photographer, the videographer, the caterer, the people who provide the flower, the venue, so many things that goes into that planning that, believe me, it can become overwhelming. Here's my thought. If you can, I'd highly recommend you get a wedding planner to do this. Yes, you're gonna have to budget a certain amount for this if you can afford to, but it'll take a lot of strain off you guys to go ahead and do that. So that is my suggestion for the planning of your wedding. The honeymoon, that is a different story. All right, so both of you, this is a time that you want to be in a place of paradise, that you want to spend time getting to know each other, not only physically, but in other ways as well. You want to enjoy time together, holding hands, going to dinner, walking on the beach, whatever plans you have. So make sure that you plan your honeymoon carefully so you can look back with some amount of satisfaction. And then there is the stage of, after the honeymoon, settling in together. The fourth part of this first part series has to do with settling in together. That is living together as man and wife, in a home environment. And we're assuming here that possibly one of you had a home before, or a nice rental apartment, because sometimes this can be an issue if you don't have a proper place where you can start off good foot with your marriage. So having had that nice apartment or nice home, here's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, and you start actually living together as man and wife. But one of the things that you're going to find during this initial stage of marriage is the physical aspect of things where you just can't get enough of each other. I can recall my days. I just couldn't get enough of my wife, and the reason why I mentioned that you need to have somewhere where you can express your intimacy together is because this is such a natural part of the marriage act itself, that here the couple gets to know physically each other, their likes and their dislikes, and just connecting on a physical level that God meant it to be, because He was the one who actually initiated marriage. And at this point, I like to share something, and what is not really a secret, but something that Alda and I placed in our marriage from day one. And it's something that we learned, or she learned, from a song that she grew up with in her own local church. And it has to do with bind us together. Part of our prayer each time we have our devotions, and this is important too, guys, that you need to have God in your marriage. God didn't mean for a couple to be by themselves. It's a three-way thing where God is at the apex of the triangle and the husband and wife are at the base. And our prayer has always been, bind us together, Lord, because I cannot be broken. And we meant it. And I believe with all my heart that this is one of those things, one of those prayers that God has really honored in our marriage. So, along with the physical intimacy, which I say that most of our guys and some of you girls too can't get enough of, it is also equally important to spend time together in prayer. This is very, very important. Spend time reading the Bible together, because just like how we have a physical Google or whatever tracking device that you have to get it from place to place, the Word of God is the GPS for your marriage. And I'll be sharing some scriptures, some verses later on in our next video as to some of these things, some of these verses from the Bible that has helped to keep my wife and myself together. So friends, we've shared quite a bit today, and if you're new to this channel, I'd encourage you to go ahead and subscribe. For those of you who have been on my channel and have already subscribed, thank you so much. I'd encourage you guys to go ahead and share this video. Who knows, there might be somebody who might be in need of help of this first part. But remember now, in the next part of this series, I'll be talking about living together in detail. You're going to want to tune in for this, because I'm going to go in detail as some of the dynamics that's involved in actually living together as man and wife. You're not going to want to miss this. So until next week, this is Earl Hendricks, and ta-ta for now.